the biggest story from the boxing weekend. Teofimo Lopez defeating
You know
Josh
what?
Taylor
I'm a little disappointed. I'm a little
in.
disappointed you didn't go Sonny Edwards.
I say that for
I
like
was
the
expecting it.
that's the last few seconds of the podcast. We'll talk about that potential matchup. Uh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love Sonny though. You know that's my guy. But yeah, man, I think
He's a cool lad.
I'm most excited to talk about Teofimo and Josh Taylor, and one that we were both miserably wrong about. And I think not just us. I feel like 90% of the boxing world kind of was leaning toward Josh Taylor, thinking he was going to show up to New York and beat this Teofimo Lopez, or this version of him who doesn't seem mentally there. He's just all over the place,
Yeah,
dealing with this and that, and talking about he's taking his soul and he's going to go murder this person, and just a whole bunch of just really outlandish, crazy shit. And
yeah.
all
A
of
lot
us
of
were
faith
questioning.
in a lot of faith in
Yeah,
God recently.
yeah, all of us were questioning kind of where his mindset was, where he was mentally. Josh Taylor seemed laser focused. He
Yeah,
seemed to have a vengeance. He seemed to actually uh, take some of the things Tio said personally, and he wanted to show that on Saturday night. And I think that was a lot of Tio's game plan, which he deserves a lot of credit for. He really got on Josh Taylor's head, and with that, Josh came out strong, won all some of those early rounds, and then really started to fight emotionally. And that's where Tia was dancing. He was letting him be aggressive, just standing back. You know what I'm saying? Doing all these cool moves and just boxing, man. That's all he was really doing was boxing. And
yeah,
Josh Taylor was trying to take his fucking head off.
yeah,
And Tio was just countering him, man, with a great fucking game plan. And that's not something I expected from him because, like at the beginning, I was so worried about him mentally. I tweeted, Tio, I'm worried about you. Genuinely, genuinely. Like I feel like he was gonna get ripped apart. But he did
yeah,
it, man. That dude is a flawless boxer. He showed it. He showed that he could be. You could make the case he's the best 140 pounder in the world. But Josh, as
big talk.
as a fellow guy who's miserably wrong about this prediction, what did you think of the fight?
Oh man, I mean, this one hurt a lot. I'm not gonna lie. Not as much as uh as you may think though. I'm not. I'm doing okay. Uh, for those who don't know, any OGs around, Josh Taylor was like, I think he was like top three in my pound for pound for like 2 years in a row. Um, Back when we started the podcast, we
And
started,
rightfully so.
and rightfully so. I mean, what he did against Ramirez and all those other guys, Regis. I mean, he was an unstoppable force at one point. Um, he was one of my favorite fighters at one point. Still is one of my favorite guys. I don't want to say that. I still like the guy. And yeah, just kind of bouncing off of what you said. Yeah, it looked incredibly focused, incredibly laser sharp. Um, he wasn't buying into any of the Tiafimo hype. You know, he was just ready to box, just ready to get going. And that's not something he's used to as well, um, dealing with guys that are just absolute shit talkers.
Yeah.
Like it's not a big thing in the UK boxing scene. It just doesn't happen that much. And a lot of those guys are a little bit more humble and they're here to fight. Um, yeah, just I mean, the whole gist of it is he looked ready. He was unfazed. He looked ready to go, and it's all the perfect signs. It was all the signs you wanted to see for a guy that just looks like he's going to win. And looking at Tiafimo as well, didn't really look the best against Sandor Martin in his last fight. Um, had previously lost a fight to Cambosis in dramatic fashion, and the signs were, you know, the signs were pointing toward this is Josh Taylor's moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the moment for him to have the biggest win of his career by far. Um, Aside from him unifying the division, uh, this is a massive, massive name for him to beat. And going into the fight, it looked great. I mean, I can't say as far as like the first couple rounds, he looked very good. Like I'd say the first 4 rounds, he looked awesome. I mean, He was connecting the shot. I mean, he was being aggressive. Like I wanted him to see. He was putting all the combinations together perfectly, how
Mhm.
I expected him to. Um, he started bullying Lopez a little bit, which I loved that, man. I really despise when refs get on fighters for doing that. I think if they do it correctly, and I think Tyson Fury does it perfectly, and Josh Taylor takes very fond of that. Um, the way he bullies fighters, they like to duck down. It was something that Deontay Wilder did a lot too. They like to swing and duck, and you can't really help that. And I noticed the commentary pointed that out too. Glad they did. Josh Taylor did nothing wrong in those instances. I did not like that the ref was getting on him for that. It's just using your size, man. It's
Yeah.
it's just classic boxing right there. Um, but Taylor looked so good, man. He looked so good in the first round. I was so pumped after that. I was like, okay, this fight is gonna be good because he came out ready. He looked
Yeah.
sharp, and we get to that second round. He looked even more sharp. It was kind of a back and forth. I feel like more so. I feel like Teofimo was connecting a little bit better. Um, but it wasn't anything spectacular. It wasn't anything that would give Teofimo the round. I feel like it wasn't really anything that would give Taylor the round as well. I feel like they were both connecting very well. Um, but then the third round, oh my God, this was like, I was like, Taylor is looking incredible here. Like, absolutely incredible. The hooks were landing flush, the aggressiveness. He just kept up with it. He kept up with the pace. And I was just like, yeah, this guy, this is the classic Josh Taylor.
Mhm.
I love seeing. And if he fights like this, if he fought like how he did in that third round, if he fought like how he did in that third round, this fight's over. Like, he keeps this up, this fight is over because this guy looks unstoppable. And we get to that fourth round, man. Oh man. We get to the fourth round. And this was the beginning of the end. From 4 to 12, Josh Taylor did not win a single round. Josh Taylor did not win a single fucking round from
Yeah.
4 to 12. Why? I don't fucking get it. I don't understand it to this day, man. I've rewatched the fight only once. I really wish I got to watch it a little bit more, so I can analyze it a little bit more for the pod. Um, but man, this was downhill from the fourth round. I mean, this was the moment where Tiafimo started to really put the sting on Taylor with the combinations in the counter punching. It was really just the counter punching, man. I mean, Tiafimo looked phenomenal. Um, he started to back Taylor up more so in the fifth round. In the sixth round, we started to see that a little more, but we got to see a little glimpse of that in the fourth. And the way that Taylor was reacting to how Tiafimo was backing him up was something of concern. I would say it was something of concern,
Yeah.
and I just was hoping that Taylor would have an answer for this, and he just did not. He just didn't for the rest of the fight. I mean, just absolute domination from Tiafimo, backing him down, just doing everything he wanted to do, and he wasn't even fighting at like a crazy like pace, right? Like you don't think like Tiafimo looked relaxed.
Yeah.
In my
Yeah.
opinion, he wasn't really doing anything crazy. Like
I
it was
agree with you.
classic.
Yeah, he was really comfortable, is what it looked like to me. He just
Yeah,
seemed like he was in his zone and his element, just boxing.
nothing crazy. He fought at a very slow pace. He was taking breaks at like he was like he could relax in this fight, and that was concerning to me because Josh Taylor is such an accurate fighter. He's such a good counterpuncher. He's such a good brute, put it in your face type of fighter, and he couldn't get anything going. He couldn't get anything landing against Lopez, and it
Mm.
just seemed like every time Lopez landed something, Josh Taylor just was awkwardly off balance. Didn't couldn't really get his footing right. Couldn't really cut him off properly, and oh man, I just as the rounds go on, man, it was just getting bad and bad and
Yeah.
bad. I mean, it was getting so bad that Lopez was just dancing out there, like you said. He was just having fun,
Right.
and you don't want to see that, man. You don't want to see a fighter just showboating in front of you as and he's winning. It's not even
Right.
like the guy's losing. Like that's and that plays a mental factor. It has to, no matter who you are, no matter. how skilled you are in this game. If you're losing a fight and your opponent is shimmying in front of you, I'm gonna get pissed.
Yeah, same here.
It's gonna
Yeah.
throw my game off. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, just kind of going down the rounds quickly now. I mean, I have note of it. Like 9 was probably like, yeah, this is like there's probably no chance at this point that Josh Taylor's gonna win this fight unless he gets a knockout. I mean, Lopez just kind of took it away. Uh, just unstoppable. The punches were just lined up perfectly. Josh Taylor's defense was just a little bit lackluster. Um, and it was just easy for Lopez to kind of just do whatever he wanted in the ring, and
Yeah.
that's not something that's rare. It's not something that I'm going to say that Lopez doesn't do often, but it's not something that people do often to Josh Taylor, and that's where it's a problem.
100%. Yeah. 100%, bro. That is a
Yeah,
humongous problem.
and then just ending it off, the 11th round was probably the best round of the fight. That uppercut,
Mm.
oof,
Mm.
fluff, fluff,
Yeah. Yeah. And when
fluff.
they played it in like slow motion, the clips were like going around Instagram of like that slow motion shot at that angle where you see in between the ropes.
Yeah,
Ay, ay, ay,
dominated him,
ay,
man.
ay. And
I mean, he
like
dominated him.
this was for me one of Teo's most impressive performances. Like, granted, where he was mentally and all the questions we were having for him coming into this fight, and also like in his surgeons, coming up at 130, 135, and he was beating everybody on the way up, knocking people out of their fucking shoes. Is the
Yeah,
Tio that everybody got
yeah,
used to, right? It was the Tio
yeah,
knocking people's heads off
yeah.
and putting people away devastatingly. But then it switched. It switched. He did that Loma fight, and then after that, it seemed like he just wanted to take people's heads off, and that's where
No, I
it
agree.
went downhill for him. And then this fight, he went back to kind of like the origins, to like the amateur days, where it's just I'm not here to knock nobody out. I just got to win off points, and
I
just I'm
love
gonna
it.
outbox you. Me too.
I
Me
love
too,
it.
bro. Me
I love
too.
it. Because I don't like how people just expect like a fighter to just knock everybody out. It's the same thing with Devin Haney. Like people did it for years. Like even before we had the podcast, we talked like Ferris and I talked about boxing since like 2018. Um, and probably even before that, we talked a little bit about combat sports. But like you remember those times, like when Devin Haney had that crazy knockout.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, "Oh, where's Devin Haney's knockout again? He's not knocking people out."
Yeah.
And he didn't knock out anybody. Still hasn't knocked anybody out since.
Right.
And it's just like that's not what that's not what this is all about. Like people aren't one trick ponies inside the ring. It's not. It's just not how the sport is. You know what I mean? And not everybody is equipped for that. You know what I mean? It's just something that happens. And Teofimo was one of those guys that was putting people out. Don't get me wrong. But I love this Teofimo as well, man. This is the type of Teofimo I want to see again against Cambosa. This is the Teofimo I want to see against Ryan Garcia, against Tank, against Devin Haney. This is the Regis. This is the Teofimo I want to see. And regardless of the antics and all the bullshit he's doing, he showed up. I eat my words like a man. Josh Taylor, when we do that pound for pound, it's just gonna be real scary for him.
Yeah, he might have
real low.
He might have lost his spot.
He lost a lot of spots, man.
Yeah.
He
and
did
I mean,
not show up, man.
Yeah. And that's like I said at the top, man, the emotion. It felt like Tio really got in his head, and he was really not fighting out of experience and not fighting from like I'm the best boxer of best 40 pounder on the planet.
I agree.
He's just trying to take that man's head off, and that doesn't win fights.
And yeah,
unless
I agree.
Of course you land, right? And then you actually take his head off, and then it's GG's.
But yeah. It's a little concerning when you look like you're gonna win this fight 4 rounds in, and then you don't show up for the last,
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. And we talk about the Tio antics. As soon as this fight got over with, right back to it.
Yeah.
Man's retires.
Tired. He's not retiring. He's not retiring.
No way.
He's just not making enough money.
No way.
That's all it is.
Pulling the ultimate Henry Cejudo.
You think?
Give that dude like 2 more weeks. Bro, I seen some shit that was like $100 million contract would get Tio out of retirement. I'm like, it's been 24
He said
hours.
that. You know what's funny? Teofimo said that too.
Fuck out of here, man.
He's
This
not
is
getting
what they
100
do.
million, I'll tell you that much. But he's definitely deserving more than a million.
That's
I
what he
would
made.
agree with that. From what he said, it's Teofimo. You can't even believe anything he says.
But
We're
if
gonna
he,
have to get the facts on that.
wow, he made 1 million.
If he made
That's kind of
a million, he's not
tough.
even pocketing a million.
No
He's that's getting
chance.
because that's getting taxed.
Yeah,
That's more like 600K
right. And then you got to
to
pay
fight Josh Taylor.
his dad's dealer. Like all that's just gonna
Yeah,
go away.
you got to pay the camp, you got to pay the organization, you got to get your tax. Oh yeah,
You know, the dealer. You know what I'm saying?
you got to pay the
I was
coke
like,
dealer.
damn, that went over your head,
You got
huh?
to pay the coke dealer.
All of that, man. Those dudes are on some serious
Oh
stuff.
man,
I don't think Tio is, but maybe, the senior.
imagine a coked out Tio beats Josh Taylor. Like imagine he comes out, it's like, bro, I was on
Yeah,
mad coke the night before.
yeah.
I'm not
He pulls a John Jones. I beat you after a weekend of cocaine and hoes.
gonna lie. Yeah,
That'd
that's
be
so savage.
crazy. Yeah, that'd be so crazy. Josh would retirement. It might be over.
Whoa, he's like 34. Relax.
Whoa.
He's still got time.
He do. I'm just being dramatic, man.
I
Tio's
think that Josh
25
Taylor,
and he fucking retires. So who
nah,
knows?
he's not retiring, bro. I refuse. But that Josh Taylor doesn't beat anybody at 140. I'm gonna be honest. He doesn't. That he
Yeah.
gets destroyed by Devin Haney if he walks. If Devin Haney moved up,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Regis, I'd even say Regis knocks him out his shoes,
We
bro.
just might put him away. Regis fighting this Saturday, man. I can't wait.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I can't wait for Regis's fight. But yeah, man,
Oh,
Tio will be back. You have all the belts. You have it like there's no point of retiring. The if you're complaining about paydays, your next one's gonna be insane with all those
so
belts.
okay. So did they give Jack Catterall the fight
Ooh,
since
that's a good question.
since Josh Taylor didn't want to give him the fight?
That's a damn good question right there.
What do
I
you
wouldn't
think?
be opposed because Jack Catterall's coming off another win since his Josh
Yeah,
Taylor fight.
so I'm saying he's deserving of this.
Yeah,
But does Teofimo take it? That's the thing. I don't know if he's gonna take a Jack Catterall fight. That's not gonna make him any money.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if
He'd be making him
that's a big
money.
money. Yeah, that's not a big money fight right
It's
there.
not at all. I mean, it's we know the names. It's Tank, it's Regis,
Yeah, Ryan.
it's Ryan Garcia. These are the names. I
Yeah,
mean, even
it's
Pitbull.
yeah, Pitbull, Rolly, like these are the guys. Can't believe I just said Rolly, but
I mean, it's rolling. I mean,
yeah,
he had oh my god, his last fight was just
yeah,
what the fuck was that?
yeah. That
What?
was
That was the most. That might be the most fixed fight I've ever seen in boxing. That might be worse than the. Oh my god! Remember Deontay Wilder fought his trainer?
yeah,
That might be
yeah,
worse than that.
yeah,
That punch didn't even hit him.
yeah, yeah. Now that was yeah.
Yeah, that
Well,
was
at the end of
clearly a
the
fixed
year,
fight, right?
we should make the worst ref call
Oh,
award.
oh my god! Can we do that sooner?
Yeah,
Like,
and we should make that an award, and we should really issue it out. And that ref deserves it for that night, man. It was like a 4-punch combination that he closed the fight on. Not one of those punches landed.
not one landed.
Not one, man. Not one. And maybe the angle, whatever the fuck. But
No,
nah, that
man,
shit. You gotta be
no.
better than that. That's a world championship boxing fight. Come on.
But it's like the guy wasn't even out. Like, oh god,
Yeah.
that was so bad.
Yeah.
That was so bad. Yeah, that might be like, yeah, it's up there. It's up there for sure.
Yeah. Anyways, man. Yeah, Tio cannot be retired. There's a lot of fun fights at 140. For Josh Taylor, though, what do you do from here?
I mean, you got to go back to the drawing board, right? You just had
Yeah.
two tough losses. Like,
Well, one loss, one questionable would win.
he lost, man. He lost.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, you
On
can't
paper, he
look at that fight. I mean, even if you won, you can't look at that fight and think, man, I still got it. You know what I mean? Like, man, I got
Yeah, that's a
it.
good point. Good
You know what I
point.
mean? You
Yeah,
won, but did you really? Um, yeah, I say just
you're
go back
right.
to the
That's back to back.
I say go back to the drawing board. Get get a janitor somewhere, man. Get your confidence back, man.
Oh,
I
come
think he
on.
needs dude, come on, man. What is he gonna fight another world champion with that performance?
Yeah, if
He
I'm
showed up
him,
for 4 rounds and then he
yeah,
disappeared.
if I'm him, I'm advocating for the rematch. Give me Tio
Hell,
again.
dude, he's gonna lose even worse, I think.
Yeah,
If
maybe.
that Josh Taylor shows up again.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
maybe.
He needs his confidence back, man. I think Jack kind of I think Jack got in his head more than Teofimo, to be
Mm,
honest. I say get a janitor, man. Get a janitor, get some confidence, beat him up, and then go from there, man. Like see what you can find.
yeah.
He's got to get a tune up though. There's no shot he's getting another world champion fight after that.
Yeah, you don't deserve a world champion. But
He
I mean,
doesn't
like
deserve
you're
it.
Josh Taylor though. You're Josh Tayller. You're undisputed world champion. And like you said, he was on your pound for pound for a few years. Like you got to give him some level of respect, right? It could be just a few bad nights in the office. Come on.
You
I'm
think I'm
trying.
not giving him respect?
I'm just saying, man. A
You didn't see what
janitor. Like
I said. He
this
looked
is
like.
maybe one of the best boxers. Like you know what I'm saying?
I'm just providing content, man. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
providing
Which
content.
I appreciate. Keep
Nah,
it pumping, man.
he's an
That's your
incredible fighter.
boy.
Nah, I told you that he looked like he was gonna destroy Teofimo the first 4 rounds.
Yeah.
But then where did he go? He went
Where
back to the
did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?